So you're about to take a bite of something delicious, something you've been looking forward to eating, like maybe jam that's been on the shelf for ages. But as you're about to take that mouthful, it falls onto the floor. It's on the ground. Time is ticking. What do? Grab it while no one's looking and call it a meal, or leave it festering on the ground and walk away and call it a mess? Massey University's bimolecular... No, I'm not going to give up on this. Massey University's biomolecular senior molecular lecturer, Heather Hendrickson, is here to talk the science behind the 5-second rule. Heather, good morning.
Good morning, Paul.
Okay, so first of all, here's my hypothesis, right, which is sort of leads into the 5-second rule. I was once in Africa with one of my daughters, and we went in and there was a celebration sort of thing, like a very cultural thing, and they said, do you want a cup of tea? And I said yes, because you had to say yes. And I took the first sip and I was worried, because I was in the middle of nowhere, and I was worried as I took the first sip, and it smelled a bit funny, and I sipped it, and then the person who had given it to me said, now the really interesting thing about this is it's not actually milk from a normal animal. And so I was thinking, oh, God, because milk is iffy anyway, isn't it? So it was yak milk, and I just basically... For a week, I just emptied out, if you know what I mean. But here was my theory. I then enjoyed it, and I said, oh, that's fantastic, and drank it all down, because my hypothesis was that first little taste was all it needed to infect me, and really, quantity didn't matter. I had it in me. Am I right?
So I guess it would depend on what kind of infectious organism that you thought you were ingesting and what its concentration was in the milk, right? So
does concentration matter? Because wouldn't it get into your body and just breed like wildfire anyway?
It depends. So for some organisms, they need a minimum number, and that minimum number might be as low as 10. But for other organisms, they need huge boluses, like hundreds of thousands of microorganisms,
so they sort of
just
need a
to get a
critical
starting
balance.
point. Totally.
Oh.
So, like, for example, even if in the laboratory we have really rich media and we put a very small number of bacteria in that media, sometimes they just won't get started, even though they're in like a perfect condition.
So actually what you're saying is I'm completely wrong.
I'm afraid so.
So you see, because the reason I was saying that is just now Jim took a mouthful of poisonous jam. Well, not a mouthful, he took a tiny bit.
Right.
So following my hypothesis, you could finish the whole jam down. I mean, you're not going to get any sicker.
Right.
But what I'm saying is wrong.
That's true. What you're saying is incorrect as far as what we know about microbiology.
Right. And I'm picking you probably know more about it than I do. All right, the 5-second rule. So the guts of this yarn, whether it's 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, the guts of the yarn is you drop something edible on the floor, as long as you pick it up really quickly and pop it in your mouth, you're going to be fine.
Right. And so
True or
some
false?
people will say 3 seconds and some people will say 10 seconds. And this is false. So essentially, once something lands on the ground, and there is research that has gone into looking at the specifics of this, once something has landed on the ground, it's not like the bacteria are calling a hiatus until it's been there for 5 or 10 seconds.
So they're not over at the other side of the room going, hey, food down, over here, guys.
No,
I'm going to get there first. Oh, they've picked it up and eaten it.
No, that's not the case. So as soon as, if there are microbes on the surface, as soon as it hits the surface, they will adhere to it. And the research that was done was basically out of the United States, and what they did was kind of charming. So they took 3 different. The paper's kind of cute to read, but they took 3 different types of surfaces. They took carpet and tile and wood, and they inoculated them with a particular, like a really huge concentration of these microbes. And the first thing that they did was look at how long do the microbes last. So microbes don't like being on dry surfaces.
So which is the best surface for food to fall on if you're going to put it in your mouth?
It depends. If the bacteria get into carpet, they live longer. But they transferred with food onto these 3 surfaces 2 different types of food, bread or bologna.
Yeah.
And in all of the cases, they transferred immediately. But what was your question?
I can't even remember. I can't even remember.
So
it's too late. It's done.
Yeah, all of them transfer, but carpet will transfer the least, but there are more bacteria living there.
Okay, so the guts of the yarn is, the 5-second rule is baloney.
Totally false.
Heather, thank you very much. That's Heather Hendrickson, who works at a university.